And to discuss business with us is Oyin Adekunle. Hello, Oyin.
Hi, Anita.
Well, both from the IMF and the CBN, I mean, Nigeria has rising debt profile has been an issue of concern. But why exactly is this on the fall of business news today?
Well, that's because the Nigeria debt to GDP ratio as at 2018 stood at 25%, despite the growing rate of the nation's debt profile. The Debt Management Office had reviewed the rising state of Nigeria's debt after hitting 24.39 trillion naira as at December 2018. Analyst explains why this should not serve as a parameter to measure the federal government's performance on borrowing. Adeshewa Odushoga now reports.
Nigeria's debt hit 24.39 trillion naira by December 2018, indicating a 12.25% increase from 21.725 trillion naira in 2017. Although the federal government has allayed fears in the minds of many Nigerians, saying that the national debt is sustainable, many still worry over a plunge into debt crisis.
I wouldn't say that it's a debt crisis, because at least we are still managing to run the affairs of government. I mean, things are still going, salaries are being paid. We are still having some capital projects in place. We are still credit-worthy. If you go out there, I mean, we went to the Euro bond market and all of that. These things were fully subscribed, even oversubscribed. So it shows that at least we still have some credibility as a country as far as our economic standing or financial standing is. But clearly we have a challenge with debt management. We have a challenge with debt servicing, to the extent that the burden of servicing debt is so heavy on us. It's still a form of crisis.
Debt to GDP ratio compares the size of a country's debt to its economy with a view to determining the sustainability of the debt profile. But with Nigeria's debt to GDP rate at 25%, which many believe to be a good one, analysts argue that this is not a better parameter for measurement.
Some analysts have used the debt to GDP ratio parameter, which puts our debt to GDP ratio at about 23%. If you compare that with other claims, it's a fairly comfortable figure. Because in some other countries, we are talking about debt to GDP ratio of 30% or 40% or even 50%. But if you relate the debt to revenue, the percentage is very high. The revenue to debt ratio is very high. For instance, in the 2019 budget, the debt service component of the budget is about 2 trillion. The estimated revenue in the budget is about 6 trillion. So you're already talking about 30% of the revenue going to service debt. So what is left for development?
Analysts have, however, advised the federal government to seek ways to combat its revenue challenges, therefore limit its rate of borrowing.
In order to also deal with the bigger issue of fiscal sustainability, we should be looking at the issue of revenue. This government is very weak on revenue, and it's part of the issues that the IMF also raised, the need for revenue optimization. And when you are talking about fiscal sustainability, of course, you need to also look at the cost of government. You look at cost, you look at revenue. So there's a need to review the cost of governance. There's also need to look at how you can optimize revenue.
The current rise in the nation's debt profile has attracted the intervention of global bodies like the International Monetary Fund. The body has warned that the rising corporate and government debt levels and the sharp increase in more risky lending could leave the global economy vulnerable to another severe downturn. Adeshewa Odushoga, TV360 Nigeria.